We'll share some links with you later so you can learn a little bit more about the Work Ready programme and the other videos, webinars, downloads and things that we've got for you. But just for now, let me say that we're thrilled to be able to co-host this event this evening as part of National Apprentice Week. I think it's set to be a really interesting and lively session with the chance for you to get your questions answered as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you the host for today's Demystifying Apprenticeships webinar, Remel London, founder of The Mainstream.
Hello, thank you so much, Amy, for the introduction. Really appreciate it. And yes, I am so excited to welcome you to Demystifying Apprenticeships, presented to you by Apprentice Nation and The Mainstream. We are both really excited to be a part of BT's Standout Skills program. And for those of you who have not come across Apprentice Nation or The Mainstream before, I'm going to fill you in right about now. Apprentice Nation is an entertainment and education platform who specialize in providing young people with core skills for life and supporting them at the beginning of their career path journeys. And I am, like Amy mentioned, the founder of The Mainstream. Now, this is quite a new platform. We're a creative platform. We're offering networking opportunities, live events, or I should say right now, virtual events, workshops, seminars, Q&As, and I also host a podcast to support other individuals who'd like to launch their careers in the mainstream media and entertainment specifically. I've had guests like Mo Gilligan, Clara Ampho, Vic Hope, Kayode Hirumi. If you remember the Hood documentary, which is a comedy that landed on BBC, he talks about how he went from online to TV. So if that's the kind of world you want to learn about or hear from experts, please do check out the podcast. But let's not talk about all of that. Let's not just talk about me, because today's Into the Booth session is the first of 3 this week. Now, this is an amazing week. It's National Apprenticeship Week. And, of course, we're here demystifying apprenticeships. But tomorrow, we'll be demystifying the music industry. I'm going to be there again as well, but I'll be a panelist. And on Friday, we're going to be holding a demystifying well-being. I'm sure you can all relate right now. It's really, really important to be in tune with yourself. Positivity only moving forward. So if you're interested, please do pass through for that as well. Of course, more information will be shared at the end of today's session. But I have to say, thank you all for being here with us today. You didn't have to be here, so we appreciate your time. And please feel free. I've already seen some people getting busy in the chat already. So please do feel free to comment in the chat. Let us know if there are any particular things that you're looking for in this session. Please let us know where you're watching from, what you're looking for. It'd be really good to hear from you throughout the session. So you can already see that there's a few mentions of how you can do that. But if you ever do get lost, just head down to the bottom right corner of the screen. You can click on the chat button and just get busy with it. I love it. You'll also be hearing from some incredible people throughout the evening. So again, get your questions ready. We've got some fantastic apprentices, 2 industry experts, so they want to hear from you specifically. Of course, I've got my questions all ready and loaded up for you, but you are important. We want to hear from you. So line up your questions. Again, head to the right-hand corner of the screen. That's where the Q&A section is. You can click on the icon, and again, throw in your questions. We want to hear from you. So, is everyone feeling good? Is everyone awake, feeling good? You know, grab a pen, grab a pencil. I'm just trying to energize everyone. Virtual events are so strange now, right? But it's good to know that you guys yes, Farah Lewis is in the building. Hey, we got Nida Hussein giving us the thumbs up. This is the vibe. Yes, this is how we're communicating nowadays. 2021, we do it different, baby. I'm loving it. This is good energy, and I want you to keep that same energy as we work our way through this. So, without further ado, I got a party emoji as well. Yes, abundance. Yes, I love it. Cool. So let's meet our panel. I want to pass on some of my good vibes to them as well. So as I mentioned them, I hope they pop up onto our screen. We've got Natasha, Kizzie, Joe Sharman, Aston Hickford, and Tina Satter. Please give them a virtual round of applause wherever you are. Guys, ladies, are you here in the building with me?
Hello.
Right here.
Absolutely. Good vibes only.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Amazing. Well, I'm going to go through you one by one. I'd love to know what it is that you do, where you're currently working, and why did you decide to join us today to kind of share some information about apprenticeships. So I'm going to start with the lovely Natasha. Kizzie, apologies. Natasha Kizzie, first of all.
No, but Kizzle is great for shizzle. Like, I love that, right? I'm taking that out of tonight.
Own it. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, and hi, everybody out there. Great to have you all here tonight. So I'm actually a senior industry manager at Google, and in my day job, I look after the UK government, so I'm responsible for all of their digital marketing across Google Media platforms. I've been at Google for about 3 years, and before that, I was the marketing director at NCS, National Citizen Service. Some of you may or may not have taken part. I hope you did. Flying the flag. And I'm really passionate about social mobility and about helping young people get ahead. So as well as my day job, I actually have a second role at Google, and I'm program lead for the apprenticeship program that we have there, which is a level 3 digital marketing apprenticeship program. So I'll talk about that more later.
Yes, drop the gems. Thank you so much. It's great to have you. Right, we're going to move on to Mr. Joe Sharman. Please tell us where you are working from, what you currently do to day, and also if you could share with us why you wanted to share about apprenticeships today as well. That'd be great. So welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Remel. Can you hear me in the back? So, obviously, don't actually have the nicety of having beams in my usual flat in London. I've actually gone home and made it out of the capital for a little while, but still, I'm working at Multiverse as an early talent executive. My team is all about harnessing the potential in young people and helping them utilise the skills they've acquired over the last few years and getting their apprenticeship and kickstarting their career. And before that, interestingly enough, I also worked at NCS, Natasha. Didn't see you around, but I was a recruitment coordinator and recruitment lead for NCS back in my time. The reason why I'm here today is to help demystify apprenticeships, mysteriously enough, and also give you a few tips on how to cope with the virtual interviewing world.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Joe. Absolutely love that. And it is such a small world that you were working with Natasha, but had no idea. Love that. Awesome. Right, we're going to move on. We're going to talk to you shortly. We've also got two incredible apprentices with us today. So I'm going to start with Aston Hickford. If you could tell us where you're working, Aston, and also why you wanted to join the panel today and share your experiences as an apprentice.
Well, hello everyone. I'm currently working in the joys of my bedroom, but in the wider sense, I work at BT, where I recently finished my HR apprenticeship scheme last year back in March. So I've had a year's experience off the scheme itself. And the reason why I really wanted to join today is because I remember when I was finishing sixth form, I wasn't sure about what I wanted to do next. So today is for me all about helping young people make decisions or giving them information to make better decisions, because I'd like to kind of let them know what their options are outside of university.
Definitely, that's so helpful. Thank you so much, Aston. We're gonna ask you all the questions, the real questions. So give us all the juice. We need it, all right?
Bring it on.
And finally, we have Tina Satter, who's also an apprentice. Hi, Tina. Let us know where you're currently working and why you wanted to share your experience of being an apprentice.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tina. I work at Unilever, and I'm a business analyst apprentice, and I do my training with Multiverse, which is really cool. I'm here to kind of share my experiences of my apprenticeship and maybe inspire others to do the same.
Amazing. Thank you. Again, free all the gems, all the realness. We want to hear from you. So I'll be chatting to our amazing panelists very, very shortly. But I just want to reaffirm that this Into the Booth session is all about getting the answers to the questions that you need to know that you might not have thought of before, might not have had the opportunity to ask anyone before. So please do use the Q&A button on the bottom. If there's any young people that have maybe their parents or guardians in the room as well, let them, pass them the keyboard, let them type in a few questions as well, because I'm sure there's a few parents that might be thinking, I don't know about this apprenticeship stuff. So it'd be good to hear from them as well. So again, put all your questions on the table. Use the Q&A button on the bottom right of the screen to post the questions you want answered. And I'm glad you guys are already getting busy, like I said, in the chat. Also, take notes. This is really going to benefit you in the long run. You can't always, you might not always be able to answer all the questions. You might want to do some research in your own time. So get a pen, get a paper. If you want to type on the side, that's fine. This is all about you and making sure we can help you get the right apprenticeship and find out about the right career path for you. So without further ado, I am ready to ask my questions to our incredible panel. So I'm going to start with the wonderful Natasha again. I'm so tempted to call you.
Let's do it. I like it.
So you are really passionate about helping young people, navigate their way into the industry. How would you describe the current climate for young people?
So I think, undeniably, COVID has created a lot of challenges, right? And so, we know that there are, sectors of industries that are really struggling and have found this to be a really challenging time. But even though we're all in the same storm, we're not all in the same boat. So what I would say is also that there are other sectors and industries that actually have seen the speed of digital transformation completely transform the way that they engage with users or with citizens or, viewers, whatever it might be. And so that in and of itself creates, opportunities that maybe didn't exist before. And I think, for a lot of those organizations, the seismic shift is actually being driven by people like us who are spending more time online. Did you know that there's a factoid here, 61% of the UK adults' waking day is spent with media online. Yeah. So, the rise of e-com has been incredible. A lot of businesses are actually having to transform to keep pace with shoppers out there. So, there's been really, these seismic shifts, new opportunities and, new avenues, I think, for young people to explore. So whereas maybe, there weren't necessarily, some of the sectors that you might have thought about automatically going into after school, might be a bit tougher to get into those sectors now. There's actually a whole slew of new opportunities, I think, that are available and that are out there. And just to bring that into focus, our digital marketing program that we run at Google, 74% of our apprentices have been placed in jobs, and that is literally over the last 2 months.
Wow.
Fantastic roles, quite a few of them at Google, but fantastic roles as well in lots of other industries. So there are companies out there who are looking for young people with digital marketing skills. And of course, I unashamedly will say that I'm looking at this through the lens of digital marketing as well.
Yeah. That is so encouraging. I mean, I think a lot of people have heard about redundancies, heard about, job cuts in general. So to know that there are still opportunities, that's really, really hopeful for those that may have left college or whatever circumstance last year. That's really important that they know. Don't be afraid. Please do apply even in a pandemic. That's really hopeful. Thank you for that. Aston, I'm going to go to you next. Of course, apprenticeships consist of a full-time job and study. So how does someone manage to organize their time? How did you do it?
It's a great question. And to be honest, my schedule worked so that I had 20% of my working week allocated towards study, which is fantastic. So I specifically had a study day, whereas other people in my cohort had study weeks in the 5-week period instead. So it's divided differently dependent on individual needs, but also the needs of, the college or provider of education. So for me, I had 20% guaranteed every week, and the business were fantastic at saying, look, you know what, business can wait. You need to do your education piece. You need to get your qualifications. So that's how I've done it. Although there was times where it was a balancing act, without a doubt. everyone was very encouraging and understood, like, hey, you got to put time towards this. So you get concrete time allocated, but at the same time, you do have the flexibility of kind of go, okay, I need to do a bit of work here, a bit of college work there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And I think it's really important that, you know, you've kind of pinpointed that it does get difficult at times, but, you know, you have to be reasonable and realistic about your time. And the fact that the company that you're working for also encourages you to take time out to work, that's really, 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 really nice to hear. So thank you for that input. And I guess it's for anyone that's considering doing maybe a part-time job and working at the same time, or studying at the same time rather. Balance is really important. I'm sure everyone's learned that in lockdown. Balance is important. Go out, get some fresh air, do a little bit of work, have a bit of fun, but it's important to balance it all out. That makes perfect sense. So thank you. Tina, another apprentice who's out there making it work for her. Did you have any experience before in the field that you're now in, or does that matter? Is it important? And afterwards, Aston, feel free to chime in on this as well.
I would definitely say in the industry that I'm consumer goods, then I haven't had any experience at all. But in terms of the job role, I would say it would matter to an extent. So currently my job role is split between researching and sending out newsletters, and also maybe working on a website that I'm creating as well. So in terms of the researching aspect, I've done that through my sixth form that I was doing before my apprenticeship. But generally, in terms of all the website stuff, I'm nothing completely before my apprenticeship, and definitely a beginner.
Wow. So are you pretty much learning on the job?
Yeah, it's literally learning on the job, and it is exactly what the paper says. It's definitely that 20% makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Going back to you, Aston, does that mean that it's the same for you? Like, did you have experience? Did you have to learn on the job as well? Aston, you still with us?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Perfect. It's the quote of the year. You're on mute, guys, so apologies for that one. But yeah, so to add to that, I'd say it's very individual and scheme-based. But for me in particular, it was more about transferable skills as opposed to knowledge. So as everyone's kind of alluded to already, you learn whilst you're there. No one's expecting you to be the finished article. You're there to be coached, developed, nurtured into, you know, future leaders in the organization. So for me, no, you're not expected to have everything, but to have skills, you know, as teamwork, communication, ability to analyze and solve problems, stuff like that really is what I'd say you need.
That's great. Great advice as well. I hope you guys are writing your notes down, because these are gems right here. Right, Joe, I'm going to come back to you because, you know, you work with a lot of young people and you're looking at applications too. So how complicated is the application process when a young person is applying for an apprenticeship?
I mean, I can only speak in experience when applying to Multiverse, but in all honesty, Remel, it's not that complicated at all. So the best way to describe it is that we direct young people to our website. They fill in the basic details, so that's their contact information and their GCSE and A-level or BTEC grades. That's verified by our system, and they then have a 10-minute chat with one of our applications team. This is to find out what qualification works best for them and to see where their knowledge is at. So obviously people come to us and say, I want to be a software engineer, but they might not have had the opportunity to learn how to code. We've got loads of free resources to direct them to and give them the knowledge and the tools to come back to us and say, hey, I actually managed to do this. They then come through and they're working with me and I'm helping them find their next placement.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's literally just log on, get done.
That's basically it.
Again, this is so reassuring because I think people get so put off at the idea of having to fill out long forms and, oh, I might not be good enough, I might not be this, but you've made it sound very, very approachable.
The one thing I will add to it is once they're filling in their application, they create a profile. When you apply to an apprenticeship with Multiverse, we don't use CVs because a piece of paper landing on someone's desk isn't exactly the most interactive way to engage someone who wants to find some exciting new talent. So that profile contains a video, 3 statements about you, all of your work experience and any volunteering or extracurricular stuff you're getting onto as well. So we recommend you put your effort in there to make yourself stand out from the crowd.
That is amazing. I absolutely love that. The idea of walking, gone are the days, especially in the pandemic, of walking around handing out a CV. Gosh, that was the bane of my life as a young person. So it's really nice to know that it's actually about the experience or the work or the ideas that you have. That's really, really positive. So thank you for that. We are going to move let's go back to Aston and Tina, because you've obviously been through all of this process. What made you apply for your particular apprenticeship? Let's go with you, Aston.
It's a very, very tough question, and one that I've been asked multiple times, especially at my assessment centre. So tips for anyone who goes to an assessment centre, have that ready in your back pocket. So for me specifically, I wanted to join HR pure.
Oh, is he still with us? Oh, I think we've lost either me or Aston has gone. Is it me or is it Aston?
It's Aston.
Aston.
I wasn't sure which one had gone because the screen went blank for me too. Oh no. Okay, let's move on to Tina. Tina, are you still here with me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Amazing. So why don't you pick up from that question? Is there a particular reason why you chose your apprenticeship?
Generally, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do after my A-levels, and then business administration apprenticeship is the one I went for. So definitely going through that it was basically a broad apprenticeship that you could kind of learn loads of you could learn loads of skills from. And then I also applied for it because of transferable skills I had as senior prefect in my A-levels. So then I kind of thought that it would be a really, really good opportunity for me to try out.
Makes sense. Well done, you. Aston's back. I think he's back. I hope he's back. It would be great to hear that, he's left us on a cliffhanger of why he took the job. Aston, are you back?
Yes, can everyone hear me okay? Perfectly? Apologies, guys. It's like the ending of your favourite Netflix show, so I thought I'd leave you hanging, build the suspense and come back. So where I think I got to was get that question ready for you at assessment centres.
Yeah.
So my next point would definitely, for me personally, it was, one, HR was something I was always passionate about. When I was at school, I studied business, and HR was always the standout for me, not only because it looks at you.
Oh, I think we've lost Aston again. No! The internet! No! We can't hear you, unfortunately, Aston. If you can hear me, we can't hear you, which is really unfortunate. We'll come back to Aston because, again, his gems are just so good that they're unstoppable. So we'll have to come back to him. Natasha, I'll move back on to you. I feel like Aston's still on the roll. He has
is he coming back?
Aston, can you hear me? Because you have no idea that we can't hear you, but you seem to be going in. Like, Aston, you all right? You there?
Yes.
You've gone completely silent. Right. We might need you to retest your sound because you completely dropped off with the sound. So while you do that, if that's okay, I'm going to go over to Natasha. Thank you so much. So Natasha, right. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. I love that comment earlier on about just log on and get on with it. I think that's like a life mantra. Log on and get on with it.
Definitely. And that's the thing as well, like you mentioned earlier, there's always a fear in the industry that people are thinking, oh gosh, I don't know if I should, or is this worry? Still taking applicants and all that kind of positivity. But do you feel that the core skill that young people need today is different compared to before the pandemic?
I think, like with an apprenticeship, I think regardless really of any apprenticeship, you're not expected, as Aston said, to have really deep technical knowledge, right? So what most employers are looking for, they're looking for passion, We're looking for someone who actually is really interested in the subject matter that the why question that Aston was talking about, like, why do you want to do this? Like, you've got to really have quite a good answer for that, right? Yeah. They're also looking for people who are curious, who naturally, just want to ask a few questions and want to lean in a little bit more. They're looking for people, I think, also who have, a degree of empathy, because, increasingly we're working in much more diverse, inclusive and equitable environments. And so that means that you may be working with people who are very different to you or from very different backgrounds. Yeah. They're also looking for people to demonstrate, in some cases, kind of, inherent sort of leadership skills. So, Tina was talking about a moment ago, kind of being a prefect, being able to relate, some transferable skills from your experience today. And I do think that the one area that maybe we're leaning in on a bit more is communication skills. So, I think in this environment, the time that we find ourselves all in, you're having to lean into situations that feel quite uncomfortable. I mean, it was uncomfortable enough for a lot of young people just to go and shake someone's hand and like look them in the eyes and say, hey, this is who I am. But now you're having to do that on a virtual hangout, right? Which is even weirder. So you've just got to like feel the fear, get over all of that, and be like the CMO of you and go out there and sell yourself, basically.
I love that. Thank you. Joe, would you like to add to that as well? Because I'm sure, again, like you said, it is about just putting yourself out there, creating a profile, putting the application in. But do you feel like you've noticed that there's a difference in the core skills that young people need, or even in the work environment, doing everything virtually? Have you found that there's something you'd like to pass on to the next generation of apprenticeship?
Absolutely. I think one thing that happened when the first lockdown came, employers immediately became a bit more wary and were cautious in how they hire. But nowadays, actually, we're seeing our personal hiring rates are going up. More people are recruiting. People can onboard virtually now, and people can interview virtually. Wow. And although it does seem weird to meet someone over a webcam and have that interview scenario, actually it's creating more of a room for conversation, because there's the world is more dedicated in its time. So it's about actually owning the time that you get and making sure that every minute you have counts. And I think one thing that Natasha mentioned is about empathy. It's really important to recognise, again, I'm going to quote you twice, Natasha, if that's okay. We're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. And I think that translates. And the old image of interviewers being scary, nasty people who wanted to make you squirm, it's not real, it's not true. The reason why you get any interview is because they can see a spark in you and they want to activate it. And it's up to you to show them that spark and show them what you're made of.
Great advice. Thank you so much. A combination from Joe and Natasha. I like this. Awesome. Aston, I'm going to try one more time to ask you that cliffhanger question. Why did you apply for your apprenticeship? Fingers crossed, everyone.
Yeah, it was like a reverse Uno, wasn't it? I want to say. I had everyone hanging there. Sorry. To add to it, it was something that I was interested in at school, HR specifically, and the reason being is because it was involved at an organisational level of how it functions and, the nitty-gritty of it, but also it focused on how to get the most out of its people. So I wanted to kind of understand the balancing act between, hey, how do we get the most for the business, but then how do we get the most out of our people so that they're happy and engaged in their roles?
That's awesome. And has the experience and the why you wanted to do your apprenticeship, has it been fulfilled, or do you feel like you're still working towards achieving the goals you wanted to get out of it?
I think I've definitely learned things along the way, but I think like anything, business is constantly evolving and people's needs are constantly evolving. So I can't really say, yes, I fully tick it off, but I think I'm forever working towards it, and I think everyone is, to be completely honest.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Always, pushing the boundaries and upping the levels. That's really positive. Tina, let's welcome you back. Same with you. What were you hoping to gain from your apprenticeship? And again, has it been fulfilled? Are you still learning as it goes along? How's it going?
I would definitely say that it's definitely a work in progress. And of course, before the apprenticeship, I didn't know what role I was going to be put into, so I wasn't really sure what to expect actually. However, I have gained like a range of valuable skills such as time management, and also networking has been a huge part of like what I've gained through my apprenticeship. As everybody's working from home, you know that they're like in front of their laptops in their bedroom, like at their homes. So they're so much more easily accessible as well. Like I would be talking to somebody in R&D one day, which is research and development, or somebody from communication, and like speaking to someone from across the world. So it's just easily accessible now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good to hear. Before I open up to the main floor for everyone in the audience to open up more questions, I'd love to know from each of you on the panel, what advice would you give to someone that's not too sure about whether they want to do apprenticeships yet, and they feel like they need a little bit of encouragement or a push? I'll start with you, Natasha.
I wanted to build actually firstly on the point that Tina was making as well. And I just want to add to that, I think she made a really important point about, get comfortable with ambiguity. I think one of the things as an apprentice when you go into an organisation is you kind of feel like you should be adding value straight away. And of course you want to be able to make impact and, make a valuable contribution to the organisation. But actually just being comfortable with the fact that you don't know what you don't know. It's okay, that's okay. And I think that will stand you in good stead. So now to your question, why should people do apprenticeships? Really genuinely, I think it's a fantastic way to get a career when you have not opted to go into, further education. I think the practical skills that you'll acquire will accelerate the learning. So you are actually going to get, I think you heard Aston talking a bit about, there's the technical skills that you will learn, but there's a ton of on-the-job learning that happens as well. So not only are you getting some of the theory and the learning and stuff that your apprentice host will be the sessions that they'll be running for you, but you're also then putting the theory into practice. And I think that is incredibly valuable. And like the numbers that I spoke about before of like our apprentices who've gone on to get jobs, within a month, 2 months of completing their apprenticeship, is just testament to the fact that there are industries and organisations and businesses out there who are hungry for young people who have got certain skills. And so I would really encourage young people to, open their eyes to apprenticeships and think, a little bit wider. It's not just the traditional apprenticeships that your parents might be familiar with, that are a little bit more hands-on. There's a whole raft of opportunities, and as digital natives, your skill set will which you probably don't even think is a skill set, but believe me, social media, there's talents and skills involved in that. That will be highly valuable and useful to the British companies, large and small, as we start to come out of what isn't quite a recession, but moving into growing in the future.
Thank you. That was amazing. Joe, how about you? Why do you think people should consider apprenticeships?
I think, if I can speak from my own experience, is that apprenticeships are evolving, and they have been for quite some time, and against what Natasha says, from what our parents experienced. Now you can do apprenticeships in business admin, digital marketing, software engineering, data analytics, project management, the list goes on. And some people might be pushed into areas they feel they should go into. I was actually one of those people. I went to university. I didn't get the degree because it didn't work for me. And that's why I ended up where I am, working with apprenticeships. I think really what you've got to do is weigh up the options. Are you going to pursue knowledge, or are you going because you feel that you should do? Actually, there's access to fantastic careers where you can learn skills on the ground and develop constantly. And our model of applied learning doesn't just work in one burst. Actually, to keep up with the pace of the future in the next 20 years, we constantly need to be refreshing our skill set. We need to be pursuing every opportunity to learn in all ways. So I think it's time to get with the future and go with it.
Fair enough. Get with the future. I love it. Tina, how about you?
I would definitely say there's a few reasons that you should go for an apprenticeship. I mean, it's an amazing way to kickstart your career and learn on the job. And then with your coach, for example, with Multiverse, we get a coach one-to-one training. You're always supported. And then you're always not going to go into debt either. Like with university, you might have to pay that huge debt off, whereas with an apprenticeship, you do get paid as a part of working. And then there's that stereotype of the apprentice is only there to make coffee and like take notes. And I think that we should combat that and challenge it.
Definitely, that makes perfect sense. And finally, before we open up to the panel, Aston, if we can hear you, why should people do apprenticeships?
I feel like I've got tough acts to follow. They were all really, really good answers. We had a bit of a history lesson, a cultural mindset shift, you know, from parents and people applying for apprenticeships. But I think everyone hit the nail on the head in terms of, if you think about it from a practical standpoint, I think apprenticeships have all of the benefits of any further field that you go in up to after you leave school, or even later on in life. I see a few people have said, oh, if I fancy a career change, in the chat. So for me, you get to learn loads of new things, build a wide network of people as well, which I think is so important, especially, you know, with the famous saying of it's who you know, not what you know. So you gain skills, you get a qualification, you have no debt associated with it, you get paid as well, and also you get your foot in the door into lots of massive corporations now that are so reputable and will hold you in good stead in the future.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Panel, you have been incredible. These are just my questions. Now let's open up to some on the floor. So we've actually been finding some of the questions that you've been putting in. So I'll put them forward on your behalf. First of all, we've got one from Jeff. There's so many questions. Oh my gosh. I'm literally like, oh my gosh, there's so much to get through. We're going to start with Bob Atherton, who said, can somebody in their 40s do an apprenticeship? That is a very good question. Who would like to take this?
I'll take it. No worries. So, Bob, at Multiverse, again, I'm only speaking from experience, we work with 16 to 24-year-olds because we want to democratise access to careers and non-graduates as well. But in terms of, are there apprenticeships out there for everyone? Yes, absolutely. You can find apprenticeships at your local colleges. There are loads and loads of providers in the big cities, in London and Birmingham and Leeds. A couple of names that are coming to mind, QA Makers and Cornell. Obviously, if you just hit apprenticeships on Google and find out as much as you can, you'll find something for you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Very honest, but at the same time, there's got to be different opportunities for different people. Thank you very much. We've got a question from Farah Lewis. This is specifically to Aston. Would love to hear about the application process at BT. Oh, how was it, Aston?
I feel privileged that I've got a specific question for myself, so thank you very much. The application process, how did I feel about it? I felt it was very seamless, very quick and straightforward, to be honest, although it does require work like anything, right? Because we're a major company, so therefore we have lots of people applying, so therefore there are various different stages. So it starts off with you know, filling the basic requirements of, do you have the qualifications necessary to do a specific level apprenticeship? And basically, once you've ticked all those boxes, then you move on to like a bit of a skills and behavioural match to say like, hey, would you do this and that in a different scenario? And if you pass that, we've done a video interview, which nowadays seems fitting for the times, right? To be honest, when I first done it, it was kind of alien to everyone. People like video interviews, what's all this about? But I promise you guys, it's nowhere near as bad as everyone makes out. If you do the work, it will be very seamless. And then last but not least, we had an assessment centre day, and that's quite common across all apprenticeships when applying, that the final stage tends to be an assessment centre, and that can consist of various different exercises. Ours had a skills-based interview, a group exercise, and then a task that we had to prepare for weeks in advance before the assessment centre itself.
Amazing. Thank you for that. A little throwback for you in memory lane. Right, our next question is for Natasha. It's from Alice. And Alice asked, in this current climate, are organisations in a position to guarantee a job role at the end of an apprenticeship?
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually. And one of the things that I would say is, as you are thinking about the career that you might want to go into, and therefore the types of organisations who do offer apprenticeships, is understand and sort of research why they're running the apprenticeship programme. So, for example, at Google, part of our objective of running the programme is about supporting young people into careers, top careers in tech, and really kind of giving back at a community level. What we don't have is an apprenticeship program that runs into hundreds of people, for example, though. So, we will have, last year, our apprenticeship program, we're committed to growing it, and it is continuing to grow. Our apprentices, some will be hired by Google, but many more will be hired by partners who we work with. So that might be agencies, it might be some of our customers. I work in large customer sales for some of our biggest customers, and we support them with their advertising campaigns with Google. So it's about kind of raising the bar for the industry, as opposed to it being a direct pathway into a wide range of careers at Google. And so I think it's worthwhile researching that and kind of understanding why an organisation is doing it, but then also recognising, as some of the other speakers have talked about, it's the opportunity for you to network, right? And the opportunity for you to meet people when you're in that organisation, and then the people that they have to do business with as well. Like, those are the kinds of things that you would weigh up and think about. Well, there might be a very small pool of people who go on to get roles in that through that organisation, but actually the sphere of influence is huge, and my network is going to be massive after I come out of this. So there will be incremental opportunities beyond where I'm specifically doing the apprenticeship. So lots and lots of different options and different ways in which companies organise themselves, and it's worthwhile doing the research on that.
Definitely, that sums it up perfectly. Sometimes you may only be somewhere at a short time, so it's about maximizing that experience. That is a great piece of advice. I love that. We have another question from Philip, who says, I'm actually after a trade using my hands, bricks, joinery, carpet fitting, etc. Does this include that? Now, I feel like we've been talking a lot about tech, so people that might be looking into other types of apprenticeships, it would be nice to know if there's any advice for that. So Natasha or Joe, can you give insight to that maybe?
Yeah, I can absolutely. I think it's going to be not far off my previous answer, but there's apprenticeships for everything, because at the end of the day, the whole function of business and society is built off a model of learning. There's always something to teach. There's always something to pass on. So if you are looking for a more hands-on trade, again, I'm going to kind of recommend you to reach out to local colleges, reach out and look on the internet. There's always providers out there focusing on specific skill sets, and there will be one for you, Philip, and I wish you the best of luck.
Ah, thanks, Joe. I'm going to say that on behalf of Philip. Okay, we have another question, and this might be similar for Joe or Natasha to answer, because it's about having previously had conflicting advice about the level and type of apprenticeship that someone can do because of the apprenticeship that they've previously done. So are there complications if you do more than one apprenticeship?
Natasha, shall I take this one? I think I will. So I think what we're talking about there is actually, what an incredible question, is a consideration of overlap. So I'll try and not get too technical and too boring, but basically overlap is where you would be repeating study that you have already gained a qualification for. Therefore, that qualification would not be covered by the government levy. Basically, the apprenticeship wouldn't be free. So, for example, if you did business admin level 3 and you wanted to go and do business admin level 2, that wouldn't work because you'd already gained a higher level of qualification. However, if you did business admin level 3 and you decide, actually, digital marketing is where my passion's at, I love that kind of work, then that's a completely different qualification, completely different skill set. You would be more than eligible to go for that.
Okay, so it's all about just noting down what qualifications you've already done before moving on to something else.
That's exactly it, yeah. So just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Joe. Right, we're going to move on to another one of our apprentices with a question for Tina. So what on-the-job support would you say is in place to help you succeed? Oh, that's a good question.
I definitely say on the job, you have your line manager, you have your director, you have your teammates in your team. You maybe have apprentices in your cohort that can help you. There are so many people that are out there willing to help you, and maybe even in the same position that would definitely hands down like help you out with your apprenticeship and give you that support that you're looking for.
Great stuff. Thank you, Tina. Sounds like you've got a good team around you.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we have another question. What is the highest level apprenticeship you can apply for straight out of college? Oh, someone's they're aiming high. I love that. Natasha, do you want to take this one?
I'm just trying to think. In digital marketing, I'm not actually sure which level it would be. I think maybe Joe would have a better response to this one than me.
Yeah, okay, so straight off the bat, if you've got a level 3 qualification, then obviously, apprenticeships go from level 2 and above. So you could apply for level 3, but our apprenticeships range up to level 6. You can also get a degree level apprenticeship. One thing that I will add on to that is, I think when you leave school or college, there's this obsession with levels of qualification. You know, you go from GCSE, you go to A level, you're going to go to degree level. When you're considering an apprenticeship, you've actually got to add in the value of the work experience you're going to be gaining as well. You might be on a level 3 qualification, yep, you've just completed your A-levels, but oh, by the way, you're working at Google and you're 19 years old, you're working at BT, you're working at Facebook. That's a level of opportunity that most people don't really capitalise on, so it's also something to consider as well.
That makes sense. Don't always look at the shiny numbers. Think about the experience as well. That is a great answer. Thank you. Okay, we've got some more questions. I love it. The questions are rolling in. Okay, I think this is for possibly something Aston can answer, because Mohammed has asked, are there any other places other than BT? Actually, no, that's not a question. I saw the word BT and I was like, this is for Aston. It's not.
To answer that, yes, there is. There is loads. Honestly, there is loads of places.
Right. In terms of answering that, how do you choose where you want to go in that sense? Because I'm sure your role could be in other businesses. So, you know, are there particular reasons that you looked at BT and said, yes, this is the one for me?
Yeah, and I think Natasha kind of alluded to it earlier, is like, why is that company having an apprenticeship scheme in the first place, right? So historically, I knew people that had an apprenticeship scheme or had done an apprenticeship scheme at BT. So therefore I knew, right, okay, the proof's in the pudding. I knew that you get a career out of it at the end of it, but also it was a company that I was really interested in. So I think there's two things really. Number one, you've got to be enthusiastic and really like what your company stand for and do. But then also you've got to think to yourself, right, what does the company want out of me? Is it they want me to stay and become a leader of the future? And then if so, and if that meets your specific needs, then go for it. Yeah,
that's really good. That's really nice to hear that there's encouragement when you do apply. Actually, these people are going to really have my back. I love that. Like Tina said, it's all about having that great team around you. Thank you very much. Okay, I've got another question.
Remel, I was just going to add to that as well. I think like that point about being like really interested, like be passionate about the company that you're applying for. You will get asked, why have you chosen Google instead of BT, for example? Why have you chosen Facebook instead of Google, for example? And you know, I know we're deliberately talking about the tech things here, but I think partially also there's an opportunity to sort of do a bit of myth busting around kind of what types of apprenticeships. You know, lots of young people don't even think that they could ever work at Facebook or work at Google or, you know, BT, etc. And just recognizing that actually, you know, lots and lots of companies now are running apprenticeship programs. So really the starting point is not the company, it's you. It's like, what are you into? What are you passionate about? And then go and try and match that with companies who are running apprenticeship programs.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to squeeze in a question because I feel like it's on everyone's tongue, but no one's dared to say it except for this young person here. This is a question for Joe. Do apprentices get paid the same wage as permanent employees? The money question.
The money. Yeah, it was lurking, it was waiting, and it's here. I guess the best way to answer it quite quickly is, you know what, there is actually a massive disparaging range of salaries available in the apprenticeship industry. And to be completely honest, not all providers do pay up to what some would consider a living wage. There are some apprenticeship providers out there where you will be paid £4.15 an hour. I actually used to work with an apprentice who, way before, in a lifetime long ago, who was on a similar wage, and she was working just as hard as everyone. So if you are considering an apprenticeship, do some research into your provider, do some research into what kind of salaries are out there, and think about what you need to survive and what you need to thrive as well. At Multiverse, our minimum salary is 15k. I haven't seen a 15k in about 6 months. We're usually ranging between 18 to 24, and right now there's one salary on the board with 28k. So I guess on that front, we're trying to change how people value apprentices and apprenticeships, and I think you are seeing that throughout the industry as well.
Nice. I might have to get me a little side apprenticeship. Natasha, do you want to throw into that one as well? Because, of course, money is a big question in the industry.
Yeah, so totally, support everything that Joe said, but I would also just add to it, you aren't coming in an apprenticeship now being asked to make the tea and the coffee, right? You're coming in to make business impact. Like, you are learning about real projects that are going on. You're being asked to contribute. You get briefed. You get given a task, a challenge. You get a support network, as Tina alluded to, around about you who will help you. But, you will be set objectives, right? And then you will work with your manager to determine how you've performed on those objectives. And that's a really important feedback loop for you to be able to determine how you're doing, but also it's incredibly motivating to know that something that you have done has created impact for business, right? That's really powerful, and that's why I think more and more organizations are recognizing the quality and the standard of young people coming through deserves to be remunerated in a way that is fair, that enables them to, meet all of their needs and contribute to the best of their ability.
Amazing. Thank you so much. There is hope for the future apprentices out there. Thank you so much. Right. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you guys. Let's give a virtual round of applause to our panel, the incredible Natasha. We've got Joe, Aston and Tina. Thank you. Your answers have been so valuable to us today. Now we're going to play a quick video, which is an example of how an apprentice has excelled in their career. Take a look.
I'm Rebecca and I'm an apprentice at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is an internationally recognised entertainment company. I chose to do an apprenticeship because I believed it would give me practical experience whilst allowing me to work towards a qualification. There are loads of perks to working here at Warner Brothers. Anytime a Warner Brothers film is released, we have a star screening. If there's tickets going spare for a film premiere, then we get the chance to go. I'm constantly meeting new people. You're not expected to know everything on day one or even 100 days in. I've learned a lot about who I am by constantly pushing myself out of my comfort zone. The purpose of an apprenticeship is to learn, so if you're willing to learn and take on new challenges, then you'll be just fine. My biggest piece of advice for an aspiring apprentice is be yourself.
Amazing, amazing stuff. That was great to see an insight into Warner Brothers, and we've seen some incredible insights into BT, Google, Multiverse. Where is everyone from? It's been amazing. So thank you so much to our incredible panel. If you didn't get a chance to answer your question, I'm so sorry. I honestly didn't expect all of these questions, so thank you so much. If you do have any outstanding questions, please do check out the Apprenticeship Myth-Busting Short Sets with Roxanne. It is accessible on the website and is definitely a great reference point, as well as other short sets that we recommend you can check out if you missed anything. Our website also has details on the opportunity to sign up for an online mentor session. I'm actually one of the mentors, so holla. This is a way to connect young people at the beginning of their careers with inspirational mentors with interesting stories and professional experience to share. Of course, mine's all about radio, TV. If you didn't know, I'm on Capital Extra every Saturday, 1 till 4 p.m. and I'm on a TV show on Sky Arts. So, if you're interested in hearing about my TV journey, how I've gone from online to TV, like I said, holla. We've got 2 more incredible events this week. These are the into the booth sessions that are all about the music industry. I've had quite a journey in the music industry, so I'm going to be on that panel as well. And of course, demystifying well-being as well. Please go to our webpage, apprenticenation.co.uk. That is a one-stop shop for everything you need to know about Apprentice Nation and the events we have coming up. Also, events coming up in spring 2021. So log on and sign up. So just a reminder, Thursday is Demystifying the Music Industry. That's including experts from the BBC, MTV and Warner. Friday is Demystifying Wellbeing with experts from both Mind and Multiverse. They are available to offer you support and guidance, as well as you can ask your questions. Thank you so much for attending this Into the Booth session. If we didn't manage to answer your questions again, please do feel free to go to our FAQ page on our website, which is apprenticenation.co.uk. The final ask from you, because you guys have been so interactive with you, we'd love for you to keep typing away and complete our reactionnaire. The link is now in the chat. On completion, you will be entered into a free prize draw where you could win a t-shirt or hoodie and even an Apprentice Nation face mask, because we want to make you safe even more. Representation from Apprentice Nation. Guys, you have been absolutely amazing. Thank you for all of your questions, for your good vibes, your positivity. Again, panel, we loved hearing from you. Absolute gems. I hope to see you all again soon, and thank you for joining us. This has been an incredible Demystifying Apprenticeships with Apprentice Nation, BT, and the Mainstream, hosted by me, Remel London. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.